Welcome back, everybody, to the Eyes on Avs podcast, part of the EPS podcast family, by the fans, for the fans, diehards only, and newbies. I am Cam, and as you can see, I am rolling solo today. No Dave or Eric. They have prior family commitments, so they are not here. And thinking about them, and I'm going to play the invisible violin. Um, if you're watching this, you're probably an Avs fan. One of the biggest letdown, shocking, uh, underachieving performances in sports, hockey, that in recent memory that I can imagine. The drop off from round 2 to 3, just craziness. Dave, I believe, predicted 5 games. I said 5.5 for the Avs, and obviously they got swept by Vegas. There's a lot of stuff I'm going to get into of why I think they lost, what happened, where it all went wrong. President's Trophy curse, whether you believe in that or not, or whether you think that's real or not. But I'm just shocked. Last week, a week ago, they haven't played a single game yet, and now they're out within a week. 4 straight losses to Vegas. It started off bad. They lost game 1, and I was like, okay, they had some time off. Vegas, a little less time off, maybe that was it. No Makar. Game 2 came, lost again. Game 3, game 4, and yeah, it was just brutal all around. Terrible effort from the power play to the first, second, third, fourth line. There was a few bright spots, which I'll get into, but just a trickle down effect all around. And one of the big things, like we talked on this podcast before the playoffs started, and all during the regular season, their power play was atrocious. It was terrible. I don't know why. I've racked my brain, why they keep doing the same power play, putting the same people out there. Like, it couldn't hurt to put the second unit on, change up the personnel. I hate their break-in. The Avs are so fast, and they would skate up the ice, and whoever, maybe Natchez, Makar, McKinnon, drop it back. The puck's sitting there for 5 seconds, waiting for someone to come through, and it gives plenty of time for the defensive team to just sit on the blue line and clog it up. I hate dump-ins on the power play, because if you do not get there first, they can just ice it down the other end and kill off more time in the PK. So our power play struggled all year. It did okay against the Wild, but I think that's because the Wild are terrible at the penalty kill, so it's kind of false hope, and then Vegas clogged it up. So I wrote down some stuff. You see me looking down. I have notes since it's just me tonight. But 1 for 10 on the power play, which is, if people know math, that's 10%, which is better than I thought it was. But 1 power play goal in 4 games. They didn't get a lot of power play opportunities, but I mean, there's only like 1 or 2 power plays I can remember seeing that they actually had some good forechecks, some good momentum, some shots. But I mean, it was just brutal. And in the playoffs, if you don't have a good power play, don't score power play goals, you're most likely not going to win. I don't remember ever a time where there was a Stanley Cup winner that had like this bad of a power play. And if the Avs 5-on-5 went cold and were struggling, which they did against Vegas, and then their power play's not going, you're never going to win. And we saw what happened. They got swept, and that is just the tip of the iceberg there. But obviously, I'm not an NHL player, so you can say what you want about me and my takes. You think I'm an idiot or whatever, but it kills me the lack of effort and pushback that the Avs had against Vegas. Like, I shouldn't say I can handle losing. I can accept losing if we just get beat straight up, like, which Vegas did beat us. Like, props to them, hats off to them. They beat us in all facets of the game, but the lack of effort just drives me nuts. Like, any little adversity against Vegas, they just gave up. The forecheck was terrible. The lack of shots, I believe. I didn't watch Game 4. Thankfully, my son had hockey practice, and I didn't have to watch that train wreck because, from what I read, they went 25 minutes from the second and third period without a shot on goal. The Avalanche, the juggernaut, the President's Trophy winning Colorado Avalanche, 25 minutes without a shot. Like, even Game 4, like, it's do or die, and they still, I mean, they played Blackwood played great for that game, but they should be coming out on fire. And I'm not even going to talk about injuries because everyone has injuries, and that's not even an excuse because Makar was out. We sucked. Makar comes back in. We suck. It doesn't matter. Everyone has injuries. I'm not even going to go there and blame it. It wasn't the injuries that caused us to lose against Vegas. It was the effort, the forecheck, the power play was atrocious, bad goaltending, lack of adjustments for coaching, just losing puck battles all around and blowing the leads. Like going into Game 4, the Avs should have been up 2-1. They had a 1-0 lead in Game 2. They blew it. They had a 3-0 lead after the first period against Vegas on the road. And I was like, okay, here's the Avs. And then 30 seconds into the second period of Game 3, Stone scores on the power play. And then they just let him get back in 3-3. I didn't want to watch the rest of that game. I come back in. I see Hertl with that crazy backhand goal, which again was kind of soft by Wedgie. Granted, it was a great backhand, but you should stop that. 4-3, and they're off the race. It's over. Just shocked. No words. Speechless. Whatever hyperbole adjective you wanna talk about. It's just it was such a great year in the regular season. The first 2 rounds we saw glimpses of this to where you thought maybe this could happen, and the effort level for 60 minutes, they still did not play a full 60-minute game at any point in the playoffs. They did not play a complete Avalanche game from start to finish. You can get away with it against the Kings. Obviously, they got away with it against the Wild. Can't do it against Vegas. The power play is terrible. You can do it against the Kings. You can do it against the Wild. Can't do it against Vegas. Even though I predicted the Avs in 5.5 games, in the back of my head, this is a big team, a heavy team. They out-hit us every single game except for Game 4, which we out-hit them 30-29. So it's basically even, but more hitting, more physical. They just wanted it more. They knew they were going to beat us. They weren't afraid of the Avs. The goaltending let us down, which I like both those guys. Wedgie, I was excited for him to get the start in the playoffs. He played well at times, but it wasn't good enough. Let's see here. Wrote this down. So this is for the total playoffs for the 3 rounds that the Avs played. Team goals against average with Blackwood and Wedge at .285, which could be worse, but Stanley Cup winning goalies, you want to see that low 2s for sure. And then save percentage .901, so almost under 900 for the save percentage, which you want to see that higher as well. And it sucks because everyone's excited middle last year. We got these 2 goalies, goaltending situations fixed. We had to play Dallas in the first round last year, and we know how that went. And then this year, the goaltending was decent the first couple rounds, and then it just fell off against Vegas. And it's kind of, as the team goes, the goaltending goes along, the team's lack of effort probably throws off the goaltending. Wedgie's probably back there going, guys, what the hell is going on? And it messes with his head, and he lets in some of the soft goals, like that Eichel goal where he's off his angle, the one from the point where he's reaching at it, just goes over his shoulder. Like, there's some really questionable goals. Blackwood played good last game in Game 4, but a little bit too little, too late, you know what I'm saying? So goaltending, I mean, there's not just one thing. It's the coaching was suspect. There wasn't adjustments. The power play was terrible. The goaltending wasn't up to snuff. The lack of effort, the failure to hold on to leads. It all just came to a head, and like I said, props to Vegas. They wanted it more. You could see it from the very first game. They wanted it, and after Game 1, I'm like, okay, the Avs are in one. They have the potential. They have the talent, the roster to get it done, and they just had no pushback. Like blown leads, the lack of effort. They were losing puck battles and left and right, and it was hard to watch. I guess you could say embarrassed. Last year, Game 7 in Dallas, up 2-0, and we blow that game. I wasn't embarrassed. I was just more frustrated. Like another year wasted in the prime of Landy, McKinnon, and Makar. We have this loaded roster, and we don't get out of the first round. No Stanley Cup again. This year, loaded roster again. Great depth. President's Trophy winners, 121 points in the regular season. First 2 rounds, we got through the first 2 rounds. I'm like, okay, this is cup or bust. We're gonna get another one this year, and then just the complete fall flat on your face, no effort, just getting beat up, beat around, um, up and down the ice. It was embarrassing. This is probably the first time I've ever been embarrassed to be an Avs fan, just for the lack of effort and push back and fight. Like the group text with Dave and Eric, we just couldn't believe what was going on. Some other buddies were texting back and forth and talking about it, and it just, not only the players, no effort, but there was no adjustments. Like you'd think Bednar would drastically change up the lines or put the different penalty, the power play out there. Like they scored one goal. Like put the second or third, put LOC and Parker Kelly and Drury on the power play. If they don't score, what's different? The top line doesn't score either, and too many ghosts around there. Let's see here. So probably I'll talk a little about the positives too. Probably the one of the best players in that round, maybe the best player in the conference finals, was Landy. He was putting out the effort. He was hitting, second on the team in the playoffs with 6 goals to Nate's 7. So that's awesome. But here's some numbers right here. Natchez, 1 goal in the playoffs. After what? He had like 39 in the regular season. Nelson, 2 goals. Nichushkin, 2 goals. Kadri, 3 goals. Like, we preached depth, depth, depth going in these playoffs because the Avs were so loaded top to bottom, first line to fourth line, and the depth did not show up. They were ghosts. Nelson might have been the worst player in the playoffs for the Avs. Just non-existent outside the occasional face-off. And granted, he did hit a few posts throughout the playoffs that could have been goals. But I mean, his forecheck pressure was non-existent. He seemed scared out there. I don't know if that's the right word. He just was floating around, wasn't going to take the body and going in the corner like he should have. He just wasn't asserting his will. It seemed like the moment was too big for him. Nichushkin never really got going. Granted, he was better on the PK and the forecheck and stuff than Nelson was, but he didn't really get going. And then Natchez, after an amazing regular season, 100-point season, 1 goal in the playoffs. Like he did have some great assists, like on that Kulak series clinching goal in OT against the Wild. Amazing pass, but your stars and your depth have to show up if you want to go deep in the playoffs, and Vegas did, and the Avs didn't. And another year has gone by, another year wasted, and it's you have to play desperate in the playoffs, and especially when Vegas smacks you around like that in game 1. I was expecting the Avs to come out hot and do something to put up the fight, and it was just in spurts. Like I said, they never had a 60-minute effort for an entire game. They'd play good here, there, one period, but they couldn't sustain it for the entire game. And Vegas would just kind of call them the cockroaches. They just kind of wait around, and as soon as the Avs take their foot off the pedal, they answer, pump in a goal or two, tie it up, take a lead, and then they know the Avs just deflate and give up. You could see it on the bench. Their body language, Nate's body language was just terrible. That was hard to see. Like when he gets frustrated, you could see it. Surprised Landy or somebody, which they might have told them like, "Hey, dude, like it's gonna be okay." But he was getting frustrated. That block shot in Game 3 that caused the knee injury, whatever it is, he wasn't himself. But he wasn't himself the first 3 games before it happened. So whatever to that point, but. The depth didn't show up, the goaltending, coaching, and all that. So when Dave and Eric are back on, maybe next week, we'll see if we're going to take a week off or not. We'll kind of get more in depth with all this stuff to get their opinions, so it's not just me. But as I'm sure some of you, or most of you, probably online, seeing all the comments from Avs fans, the disappointment, the letdowns and everything. And the second big point, fire Bednar. Is it time? I've never met him, obviously. He seems like a great guy, but I think in today's NHL, you need to find that balance of like a great players coach, but also kind of a prick. Like you need to have that fire, like Tortorella. Like people love him or hate him, but he's got that fire to where he pushes you. He calls you out on your stuff. I don't know if Bednar ever raises his voice or calls you out. This is my theory that the Avs are way too complacent with Bednar. They know he's not going to yell at him. He knows he's not going to go like in a tantrum like Torts does and like call him out in the media or in the locker room or whatever. And I think that's what they need because minus the Stanley Cup year, they've lost in the first round, got out of the first round once or twice. Like, massive underachievements in the playoffs for the last 10 years with this roster. They should, like I was saying, they should have 3 or 4 cups by now, going for their third cup, going for the fourth cup. And they have the one, which thankfully we have the one cup from 22. But I mean, this should have been another cup year, or at least get the Stanley Cup final, and you never know what happens. But another year wasted. And with Hackstall too, like, that power play has been terrible for almost 2 years now. It hasn't been fixed. Personnel change, entry change, it's so slow. Like, it kills me on the power play, like how slow they skate and slow it down. Like, they're looking for the perfect pass, the perfect lane, the pretty play. It's like you have one extra guy, use your speed, you're the fastest team in the NHL, move it around, switch positions, whatever. They don't adjust. When the forecheck's not working, when the other team's clogging up the neutral zone, there's no adjustment by Bednar. And obviously, they got to the conference finals, which most teams in the NHL would love that. But this is the Avs, cup or bust, the roster they have. And then to get swept in the conference finals, like, I would be shocked if Bednar is the coach of the Avs next year. And if he is somehow the coach of the Avs next year at the start of the regular season, he's probably going to have a very short leash. You can see Sakic up in the press box, just disgusted from the effort. And I see online too, people like, Bednar isn't on the ice. It's up to the players ultimately. Like, yes, the team had a massive letdown. They did not get it done under Chief, but it's also on the coach to kind of make the adjustments, fire them up, call them out, like, hey, you guys are sucking it up. Like, where's the effort? Yell at them, change up lines even more. Like, bench players, you're not playing great, playing like crap. Call them out on the stuff. Don't let them play. Like, bench Natchez, bench McKinnon if he's got that bad attitude, and call him out. And players might not like it, but I mean, that's how you win in the playoffs. It gets tough. Like, you got to adjust, and there wasn't enough adjustment this year. There hasn't been enough adjustment any year. Anybody could have won. I could have coached the Avalanche to the Stanley Cup in 22. Like, that roster was loaded, and that's what's so frustrating is this year was like 22. Like, everything was in place. Like, the goaltending should have been better. Defensemen, we had the big bodies. We had Makar, we had Taves, Malinsky. Depth top to bottom. Our fourth line was just nasty all year. They're nasty in the playoffs. Landy was healthy, a full year under his belt after the injury coming back. McKinnon in his prime. And they just didn't get it done. And sometimes that falls on the coach. And he's been around a long time, but look at these teams that fire their coaches and have success. Like, Torts got hired with 8 games left in the regular season for Vegas, and now they're going to the Stanley Cup final, and God forbid they win. Whoever it is, Montreal or Carolina, going to be rooting for them. Not a Vegas fan, not because they beat us, but just not a fan of them. So definitely going to be rooting for whoever they're playing to get it done. But I think it's time. I think the Avs need a new voice in the locker room, definitely, to kind of have a wake-up call. And the players always say when the coach gets fired, it's like, it's on us, it's on us. Sucks the coach has to take the fall, but I mean, I think it's just they've gotten too comfortable with Bednar. He doesn't call him out. He doesn't push him enough, and they just need a new voice. McKinnon's going to be 31 next year. Makar's going to be 28 in the playoffs. And then our major veterans like Nelson and Kadri and Burns and stuff, mid to late Burns is going to be like 42 next year, so that ain't no spring chicken. And I feel bad for Burns signing with the Avs, seeing that roster. It's like, okay, this is my best shot as a cup hopefully. And he played well at times too. He did have some moments like the rest of them where he made some massive mistakes and cost us. But I mean, I feel bad for him. I feel bad for the whole team and those guys. I mean, yes, they work hard and the effort wasn't there, but you still feel bad, like the work they put in all year long, 82-game season, then you got to grind it out through the playoffs, and you come up short of your goal with a cup, and they just don't get it done. So you guys can comment on social media, comment on YouTube if you're watching this live, or if you watch it later, what do you think about the Bednar situation. But my feeling is I think it's time, especially after that sweep in the conference finals. That's unacceptable. With that roster, to not only not get another Stanley Cup, but to get swept in the conference finals. The first 2 games at home was just mind-blowing, and then just crap the bed the rest of the way. So I'm in the feeling of I think he's got to go. And if he's at the coach, like I said at the start of the regular season, I would be absolutely shocked. And if he is, then it's going to be, I would hope it's a very short leash. But outside of him and John Cooper, every other team in the NHL has fired coaches recently, and a lot of them had success in the playoffs after having a new voice in the room. And I think it's time for the Avs to get that new voice and kick them in the butt. And every year that goes by that you don't win a cup, it's another year wasted with that prime of these guys. And the big one coming, I got it on my notes here, is next year, 26-27, is Makar's last year into contract with the Avs. And I mean, what rumblings, like, does he want to come back? Is he going to sign? When are they going to get the extension? Like, does it mean more to him if you get a new coach? Is he like Bednar enough to stick around if they keep him? Like, how's that going to go? That's a big cloud hanging over the organization. Obviously, you want to get that guy signed, and he's making $9 million right now, and it's going to be a heck of a lot higher than that. So we have a lot of players signed. I wrote this down too for the cap situation. So for next year, we have just under $3 million in cap space, but this is what we're looking at for UFA and RFA. So let me read it off here. Drury is a RFA, and personally, he played great face-off man. I would get him signed ASAP. Lock him down, get him back in. Great penalty killer, face-off guy. He's a dog. He played great. Third, fourth line guy. Like, get it done. Kiviranta, UFA. He has good and bad times. Sometimes he's great, sometimes he's not. If you can get him at a cheap enough deal, keep him on that fourth line as a bargain deal for sure. You got Bardakov, RFA. I didn't see enough of him. Like, and when he did play, I wasn't super impressed with his game. I don't know how management feels about that, but he's an RFA, so we'll see what they do there. I'm kind of on the fence. Trade him away maybe. He's young. He's only 25. Trade him for an asset. Get a draft pick. Our draft picks are, since we've been so good, we don't have a lot of draft picks. So maybe trade him for some draft capital for the future. Burns is obviously UFA. It's kind of like speaking, you're going to listen to your head or your heart. Heart says sign him for another year. Try to go on another cup run to get him his cup. Head says he's going to be another year older. He's lost a step. He's slower. You'd think he's probably going to slow down even more. He's a big body. Him and Manson were great together at times. And you need a big body in the playoffs, but he did have a lot of mistakes, and there was times when those faster forwards on the forecheck were beating the pucks, and he's not 25 anymore. So Hart says sign him for another one and hopefully get a cup next year, but Head says maybe we should let him walk and go younger and faster. Kulak, UFA, love Kulak. Love his game. He's younger. He's 32. Sign him again. Get him on there in that second pairing with Malinsky. They were amazing together. Loved watching them. He's, minus that goal he scored to clinch the second round against the Wild, he's not an offensive guy, but he'll provide it when he can. But his defensive shutdown game, I love it. We need to lock in Kulak for sure. And then these last two guys are UFAs, Blankenberg and then Achan, however you want to say it. So everyone, if you watch this, knew I was not a fan of Quinn Hughes for a myriad of reasons with his flopping, but he's so small back there that when we took the body on him, he just folded, and in front of the net, he just isn't big enough. These two guys are small defensemen, and yes, speedy, but I think if you're going to be in the playoffs, those guys are too small back there. You saw them get banged around. They just can't compete in front of the net. Vegas is massive, and they just got beat up and pushed around, and we need big defensemen, or at least defensemen that are super strong and tough, and I don't think either one of those guys, yes, they're in the 5-6 defenseman role, but they're just not big enough back there to win a cup with. As an emergency situation, which obviously Makar being out and getting hurt, they had to step in, but for a deep cup run, those guys are just too small back there to get it done. So $3 million in cap space. We have those. Let's see, what is that? Seven players to sign potentially. So possible trades in there to get draft picks, trades to get cheaper cap room. I don't know what it's going to be that way. But some of those guys I'd love to have back. Some we should probably let walk. But we're going to need to stock up with some draft picks again because the cupboard is empty for sure. But there's a lot of stuff that I shouldn't say there's a lot of stuff need to be fixed. We won the President's Trophy last year with 121 points. Like, it was just, I'm just at a loss for, I think the two biggest things for me is Bednar's got to go because they need a new voice in that locker room to change stuff around and light a fire in the guys' butts to not underachieve anymore. And then that power play needs to get fixed because, like I said many times, especially during the regular season, if we had a top 5 power play, we might have went 82-0. Like, the games we lost was because our power play stunk. And if we would have won those games, like, we'd be undefeated in the regular season. And again, even against Vegas, like, the power play didn't score except for that one goal. The game 3, we're up 3-0. No power play goal in that first. We could have went up 4-0, and granted, we could have crapped the bed and blew that, but like 4-0, maybe that was enough to withstand the onslaught from Vegas if we would have had that power play goal. And it kind of seeps in there, like they won't talk about it. Like, obviously they're frustrated with no power play goals, but if you get a power play and then it's not been going great and then you don't get a power play goal and you're coming off the ice, you're just giving all the momentum to Vegas. You guys are teams not necessarily fighting, but it's like, come on guys, we got to get that power play goal, and it just seeps in. It's just a microcosm of everything else. It just compounds. Wedgie's seeing him not score. He's like, oh my God, no power play goal again. Everyone on the bench is like, we didn't score on the power play goal again. Like, and then Vegas scores is 3-1 on their power play, and it's like, come on guys. So I think a new coaching voice, fixing the power play, and then figuring out what we're going to do with the 5-6 spot for the defensemen and the bottom 6 who are going to re-sign or add. That way it's going to be an interesting offseason for sure. Obviously, like I said, when Dave and Eric are here, we're going to expand in this more, so it's not just me giving my opinion. We can bounce stuff off of each other. But yeah, I love Blackie and Wedgwood, but the last 2 playoffs, like, it's kind of, goaltending has been a big part of why they lost too. And I want to hope that the goaltending situation was remedied, but it's like, come on guys, like, another year gone by, and like, we thought they won the Jennings Trophy in the regular season. The goaltending was great in the regular season, and then when the 3rd round hit, like, I don't know if, I mean, they didn't play great. Blackwood played better in game 4, but was Wedgie not playing well because the team wasn't playing well and it compounded and affected him, or was the moment too big for him? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I would like to say I'm confident in both those guys, but it's 2 playoffs in a row where the goaltending kind of cost him too, because you kind of need that big save to, when the team's pushing and they're coming down, you need Wedgie or Blackwood to steal a save and keep the game close, and he didn't really get that against Vegas. So we'll see what they go. They're both signed. I think Blackwood signed for like 4 years. Wedgwood's last year's next year, so he's signed until the start of 2 seasons from now. So we'll see if they re-sign him. But there's a lot of stuff to go into. The Makar extension, the bottom 6, the 5-6 defenseman role, coaching. What's Bednar going to do? Are they going to keep him? Are they going to fire him? The power play issues. Are they going to fire Hackstall? What's going to go on? So that's all I really got for just me. I can talk about how disappointed I am more and more, but I think we're all sad. It's just, like I said, speechless, no words, shocked. Cannot believe that. I can believe they lost. Like, I could see Vegas beating us before the conference finals, but the way that they beat us with the sweep and just the Avs just rolling over and dying basically is just, that's a tough pill to swallow. Looking on the bright side, we have the 22 Cup. At least we're not the Maple Leafs. It could be worse, but you get spoiled with this roster with McKinnon, Makar, Taves, Landy. So many good players, and again, year after year, they just underachieve, and it'd almost be better if they sucked and like either didn't make the playoffs or like they're not good enough to win, and you're just getting bonuses. But they should be competing like not just playoffs, like to the Stanley Cup final every year, if not winning, and they just haven't. So it's going to be an interesting offseason for the Avs to see what they do and what gets done. And like I said, when we get Dave and Eric on here again, we'll kind of expand on these issues. And we love to hear from you on Threads and Instagram. I run those pages, so anytime I post, comment below. We can start a conversation. What you guys think about the Avs and everything. YouTube, if you're watching live, drop a comment below. If you watch us later on, we'll check it and try to expand on stuff and what you guys have for ideas and what you want to see and what you think for the future. But as of right now, I wouldn't say it was like a mediocre year. Like obviously President's Trophy was awesome. Obviously making the playoffs, got the conference final, but it's a disappointing year. I think the players would agree with you. Disappointment once again. They got to look in the mirror. Why does this keep happening? Why the letdown? Why can't they get over the hump again and get that second cup with this core we have? But another year gone by, another year wasted, a disappointing finish to the year, and we have a long off season to think about it, and they have to figure out what's going on. But that's all I got for me. You guys, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow on YouTube, follow us on Threads and Instagram, and want to hear from you guys. And that is all I got this time. So thanks for listening to me blab on for 32 minutes, and hopefully next time we'll have one or both of those guys back. But till next time, sadly disappointing. Let's go Avs. Still an Avs fan, but it's a tough pill to swallow. So thanks for watching, guys, and talk to you next time.